Hello. So I just deleted the railing on this side, and I just kind of want to show my process. Probably not the right way or the best way to do it, but my process for creating this rail along these beams. It's a straight line up to there, so I'm only going to create the straight line part, but it's joined into the web, you can see here. So what I've done first is I have created one beam on top of these other beams that goes to full length. So you could try create it on all these beams, but I don't find it works most of the time. Sometimes it does. So I'm just going to go to my handrail macro, select a beam, and I'm going to go from this point to this point here. So I've gone all the way into the columns, centers of the columns. I'm not going to select the nosing. My handrail is going to be, my guardrail is going to be 3'6" high, so 42 inches, and there is 2.5 inch decking on top of this. So that's going to make my handrail 3'7.5". Alright. So we can see we have a handrail here. It's got a lot of parts. It's from a different job. Let's go to the library and see what we got here. I'm not going to go through the whole handrail process. This is one of these ones here, I think. So let's click on this one. This is for this job. And let's hope it came in the right side of the beam. So let's see. So this is basically the process I use to like where I'm going to splice, and all right, there you go. So now we've got it in. So now we're just going to go check. So I'm going to go to handrail, and I can see the distance from, I put in the slope also, is 3'7.5". But you've got to make sure that you also use distance 1, not distance, well, distance 1 and 2 axis. So I don't have this ticked. So it's going to be from the top of the decking, which I've turned off, to the top of the beam. So we can see we're falling a little short here, which doesn't really matter. And you can see this is where I have created splices before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the corner connections but first, so it'll delete all the welds and everything. I'm going to delete that part. So this is what we have right now. You can see we're good here, we're good here, we're good here, so we're good here, we're good here. This one falls on a post, so my option would be to either move this one direction and then maybe have to move all the other ones, or see, I'll probably flip this one over. So I'll probably leave this one on the post. As you can see, I have already put a plate in here. The yellow one is a plate. So that's kind of where I'm at, and the rest of them don't really hit, right? So the rest of them are fine. So if some of the other ones were hitting, I'd probably move them all. If I go back into the macro, now I'm sure the Greytech Power Pack probably has a better way of doing this. So what I'm going to do is go to post layout. So this job was a 5'2" max between the posts. So I made it 4'9", and it's not even going to be 4'9", right? The distance between the posts is 4'6" and 11/16. So if you went 4'10", let's see, obviously not 410. If I go 4'10", let's see, that changes to 4'9" and 7/16. So let's have a look at what we got now if we go on that distance. Sorry, it's just froze up for a second. Alright, there we go. So we're not hitting anywhere there. This one is hitting, but if I flip it over, it won't hit. This one is not hitting, not hitting. This one is hitting. I would also have to move it, right? So what you can do is you can just move these posts individually, but if I move this one this way, this gap is going to get smaller, and if I move it, and then this gap is going to get bigger. So I'm sure you all know, if you go back to this first tab with the posts, you can select the post. Now if you check down here, if you just watch down here, you can see that 6, 7, this one will be 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, so I want to move this, so I'm going to have to move that like 4 inches, right? Because I'm going to actually have to move it more. So I'm going to do -5 inches. And that's going to move that post over, the one that's highlighted in red. Now, if your handrails are brown like mine, which I don't really like, I'm not sure why I haven't changed that. You can see. So I've moved that over, and that's good. But now you can see this space looks even bigger because it's next to this small space. So I'm going to go back to the way I had it. I'm going to change this back to 0. I'm going to go back to the post layout. And I'm going to change the post layout back to what I had it before. Post layout was 4'9", right? 4'9". This is all going to move, and I'm going to have to flip one over. I'll try and do it pretty quickly. You can see where my cameras are over there, and maroon. A post should end up there, right? Yeah, the post ends up there. Distance to first post, okay, all these things are okay. I mean, I don't need to move the start and base point. Doesn't really matter. You can trick around with all those things and whatever you need to do to get it working, I guess. So you want to go to handrail, middle handrail. I'm 1'9" from the top, but I also want to use the distance between the axes. So it's from the top of the rail to the top of this rail. So if I go in here and check, let's just check it. If I go from here to the top, it should be 3'7.5". You can see it's 3'7.5" down here. And then if I do distance again from here down, it's 1'9". So 3'6", 1'9", and 1'9" is 3'6". So that's good. So before you go any further, that should be all fine. Now you can extend, if you don't want these two to join at the end, you can do all sorts of things. You can terminate the kick plate over here. I wanted to extend to the corner, so I'm going to explode this, so I'm just going to leave it there. Now you can also you like extend these if you want inside the macro, but I'm gonna have to explode them anyway. So you can extend these and put joints on the corner if you want to do that. I don't really need to do that, so what I'm going to do is go into joint properties. Now on the ends of this, go to handrail, and end of handrail I have nothing. And then if you go to middle handrail, you can see down here the extra lengths. So if I go to the other end of this, you can see here it is. This is the old one. So what I'm going to do is I'll delete that, and I'll delete that, and then I'll delete this pipe so we can see it a little better. So you can see this end has its welded elbows on it. So let's go back into the advanced joint properties and handrail. So what I'm going to do is end of handrail. It's got a loop on it. I don't want a loop there, so I'm going to go nothing. But you'll see this will probably cut short here. The reason this is cut short, I'll take a second. The reason it's cut short is because you have, or I have, I should say, the post layout here is in 1'6", right? So if I go to handrail and middle handrail, you can see now this is activated. If I go to length, it's brought it back to 1'6". So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 0 like this other one, and I'll extend this over. So let's do 0. And it'll bring that in. And then if we want, we can extend these out. Just a little slower on the laptop, sorry. It's also not this slow on my laptop. Usually it's this slow. Now you see this drags this joint over, which you don't really want. So you can either just add the connection, or sometimes I'll just drag this back. So if you come in here, you can either move it with the macro, which works pretty good. And then I want to go in the Y direction. Alright. And then delete that. Oh, I can't delete that yet, sorry. Can't delete that yet because I'm still inside the macro. So what I'm going to do is, that's the giant box, so you can delete that. So I'm done with that. Now I can come in here and delete this feature. Okay, so that feature is gone. And I'm good over here in the corners, so I can copy this connection. And I'll copy this connection here. So you can see I have these markers in for splitting these. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the start here. And I've already deleted this, so what I'm going to do is, if I extend this one. Now, see, when I did this outside the macro, it did not bring over that feature, right? So you can do that, right? You can see this one I need to fix because I moved this over inside the macro. So these are things you got to be careful with. So I'll fix that in a minute. For now, come back here. I'm gonna copy this joint. There we go. And just give me a second. I'm going to pause for a second and I'll finish this. Sorry about that, kids are home a little early today, so I'm missing one of those points. So what I do is then I'll copy a splice out here. It's like 6 inches from this point. So usually on this job anyway, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. So I'm going to splice it there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, and then splice 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, splice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this. Now I guess I could select this one, and then I'm going to split that at that point. So now I have this. And then I'll select these and I'll just change the color of them so I can see it a little better. Now, I didn't want to do advanced properties there. I wanted to do properties, sorry. Let me just do it quickly. Properties, blue. All right. So the next one will be red again, so I'll just select this here, split this at this point. Now if you just want to check it, come in here, check it and see if it's all welded together, and it is, so that's fine. And then keep going, we go to the next one, and where is my, this one is going to be at the post. All right, so that's why that's there. So let's split this one. Alright, so we've exploded this. This one here is going to be a post. There's a post here. So what I'm going to do is, those bolts are there from the previous one, and these are the new bolts. And then I can get rid of that angle, and then you can see we just have this here. We can just weld that. That plate right now is not welded to anything. So what I can do is, there's a weld there already. Let's see. We'll delete that weld. That was the one from the clip. So what I'll do is, I'll select the plate and this angle, and then I'll put some weld here. And I'll put 3/16 fillet weld on both sides, so double fillet weld. I don't really need to put typical in here, but I will. Okay, now when I select that, you can see it's got that on it. Alright. And what have we got? One more. So we'll split the one more. We might as well while we're doing it. So, and this last one is going to be slightly longer. So I'm going to select this. Split that at that point. And this was the one we had hitting over here. So you have one that's hitting over here. So let's check our UTS is correct. So just go back to world. Then I'm going to select. That's not the right bolts, right? I'm selecting the wrong bolts there. So I want to select those two bolts. And I'll do advanced copy, and I'll mirror. I'm going to mirror through the center of this. Delete source objects, preview, and it'll flip that over. Okay, and the bolts. And now we can see we're all clear. Checking the inside. Alright, no clash there. So that's good. And then we want to go over to the last one. We've got our connections over here. You can see we've already connected that. So I don't need to split the bottom one. I split it previously, as you can see, the extra part down there. And then split the railing, and then select the parts again. And then when I send through the 3D DWF or anything for review, it'll be a little easier for him to see where all these are spliced together. That's strange. I don't know what happened there. There. Alright, they were highlighted. Sorry, I was thinking that. Alright, so now when I go back to shaded, you can see there's your handrail around the corner, and I guess the problem you're going to have is the first one is different, the second one and the third one should be the same. This one is going to be different. Let me see this by layer, and this one blue. Alright, but you can see where the handrails are spliced there fairly easy, so he's going to know when I send it to him. That's kind of how I do them. Now, the issue you're going to have is just remember to go back, because if you check this beam, that one has the holes. Maybe only because I didn't delete them the last time. Oh, sorry, I didn't delete the beam yet. So this beam, don't need it. That beam has to go. So now this beam that's here is not going to have a hole in it. So you got to go back and select these. So select these bolts, output. Now, I've never been able to get my power pack working, so it's probably a lot easier with the power pack maybe. But, you know, I guess everyone doesn't have the power pack anyway. I do have it, but it just doesn't work for me. So I'm going to go through here again, next beam, select the bolts. As you can see, this is a pretty long beam. And then when you check the beam, you can see it has the holes in it. And in case I forget, I'm just going to go ahead and do. Now, I actually have this saved already, so I've renamed this. But now when you want to go and put your splices in, I've just done another video on the splices. So if you want to put a splice in, then I already have them in the other drawing. They're not going to be in this drawing. But if we go here, test, okay. There's your splice. So now you got your splice joined in there with the space. Good to go. And then you can copy them around, and then that's it. Now, if you didn't see my other video, they're copying a little wacky because of the orientation. See the way the cuts on the bottom here? They're not copying around the way I would like because of the orientation of these rails. So you can see this cut is now on the side as opposed to on the bottom. But I might just copy them around. The other option I have is to copy them around like this. So I'll just go in here and just select the weld, the features, and then just do advanced copy from the end of that one. This will not be intelligent, but it'll work for me. So you can see, there you go. So you can do that the same way, and that is probably the way I'm going to do it, because the other way is not working really properly. So if I go to the next splice, you're just going to do the same thing. Copy it in here. Copy it here, so on, so forth. Alright, hope that helps. If anyone has anything they'd like me to do that they think I might be able to do, you can certainly suggest it, and hopefully I can help out. Alright, thank you. Bye.